All right, we're live.
All right,
Alex.
Good.
let's go.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming out tonight, guys. We are so glad to be in person.
Yes. Yes, finally. And it's not that many, but this is what it was like before. When Alex and I started this like 3 or 4 years ago, just showing up at a brewery, talking some real estate, having a beer. This is how this all started, guys. Right? And now all this equipment and all this other stuff is from going, virtual. Everybody's seen that now, to getting back in person. So bear with us while we get through this, right? We're going to get through it, but we're trying to keep everybody that's in that virtual world connected with us, as well as having you guys here in person. So I appreciate you guys bearing with us.
Thanks for venturing out. I know we're all trying to figure out like when's the right time to go out and do stuff, and we just were like, all right, I think this is.
Let's go.
Let's do it. In the real estate world, I feel like we've been kind of grinding the whole time in a weird way. So it seemed right to kind of get this thing started. We were all excited about it. Hopefully, you guys are too. Thanks for joining us. You guys online, thank you for being with us. It's been awesome that we've been able to keep this going.
Yeah.
I thought I was using Shawn's mic.
Rookie mistake. All right, I'm back. Now I got to speak with a deeper voice, so since it's picking up. All right. So yeah, guys, thank you. We are online as well, so if anybody's joining us, thank you guys. Also, we have people at this point because we went virtual. They're joining us from different areas, so it's pretty cool that we'll be able to hopefully do both. We're going to try this.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works out. We apologize. This is a
long production.
We're learning as we go. But what we wanted to do, we wanted to start it out back kind of like low key, kind of grassroots. So we're going to break in to do some networking later, but we want to start with just talking about strategies, real estate investing strategies, so people can kind of think about what works for you, but also what might work for you later on or a different time. I mean, what works for you right now isn't necessarily going to be the same thing that works for you later on. So we just want to throw those out there, get your brain rolling, get our brains rolling, and try to think about, what the opportunities are out there in the market, in this market. And before we do that, guys, this is Hopportunity Investors. Thank you for joining us. If you have never been here before, thank you for coming. So I'll explain what this is all about.
I'm curious, who's the first-time member?
First time?
Sweet.
First time in person.
First time person.
Yeah.
Nice. Have you
That's
guys seen
awesome.
this online before?
3 or 4 times.
Nice.
Oh, but that's awesome.
Heck yeah.
It was working and you guys were getting the content online.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not in person.
No, that's
Cool.
great. That's
Very
great.
cool. Same here. First time in person. Where'd you hear about us? Nice.
He was fishing, text messaging, and I just happened to.
Okay.
Cameron's on it, man.
Very cool. Very cool.
Good.
Awesome. Very cool.
Thanks
Good
for
stuff.
joining us.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, this group is all about real estate investing. We talk about real estate investing strategies, financing options and opportunities. We bring in industry experts and professionals to give us insight on relevant topics. And then
Doing the business.
doing the business. People guys that are doing it. And then we try to discuss those kind of amongst ourselves and as a group and online, just to say, like, how are people doing this in our marketplace? So we try to do it local so that it's actually, you can actually use it. But it's kind of gone beyond that at this point. And that's awesome too. The other thing is networking is a huge part of real estate investing. And so that's kind of why we started this stuff, is to just meet different people. You're building teams. Really, if you want to be successful in real estate, you're going to end up needing to surround yourself with different people that can help you out along the way, whether it's someone finding you deals, a real estate agent to help you along the path, a lender, a hard money lender. There's all these guys, but if you want to be successful in real estate, you gotta reach out to other people. So network is a huge part of this group. We're super glad to be back like in person, because I feel like there's some network done online, but that is definitely the element that's been missing out of this group.
Yeah.
And so we're really glad to have that back.
For sure.
So guys, you know, let's learn, let's network, and let's raise our glasses for a quick toast as we do.
Always.
May your castle be secure and your cup overflowing. Real glass sound. Amazing. Amazing.
Only been forever. All right. So, again, everybody online here, thanks for being with us. So we want to just kind of like talk about some strategies, right? And I don't know, did you guys get this paper? Did Alex, did you guys get this? No?
Nope.
Okay.
You can hand it out real quick.
Can I give this to you? You wanna run around?
And we'll post this online tomorrow
Yeah, so if you guys are
sometime.
online, we'll get this to you. So we want to kind of go over some strategies, and the ones that we feel, one, everybody understands, like right now is the hardest time to find a deal. Everybody agree to that? Like literally hard. If you're going on MLS, if you're dealing with a realtor, you're probably like putting 5, 6, 10 offers at a time. Somebody's outbidding you by like $5,000, $10,000, $30,000. Like that's real shit. It's happening, right? So this is the early 2006, 2007 feel, right? Everybody's overpaying. Everybody's going really heavy on their numbers, and none of it really making any sense, right? So some of the stuff we want to talk about, and we're going to kind of go through these, and Alex and I were talking about this, but house hopping, house hacking, wholesaling, long-term flipping, seller finance, straight up investment and purchase, the Burr method. What's it like to be out of town investing? How does that work, right? How do you do that? Come on in, guys. Grab a seat anywhere you can. And then when you're flipping, right? This is the most common thing people understand, right? I'm going to buy a home. I'm going to put some money into it. I'm going to turn around and sell it, make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, right? That's the most common thing. So the progression I feel like usually starts is it's funny how this goes in order, but like wholesaling, rehabbing, landlording, and then lending. That's typically the progression, right? So in wholesaling, you get to learn about how to find deals. You get to learn about what value is, what comps are, how to estimate rehab, all this kind of stuff, right? From there, you usually move on to rehabbing. And that rehabbing can be in multiple different forms. You could be house hopping, you could be house hacking, you could be long-term flip, you could be the seller finance, subject to type stuff. And guys, I'm gonna go over this kind of stuff. I know I'm throwing a lot of words at you, and if anytime somebody's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, stop me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, feel like if you guys want to jump in.
That's all good. So good. We're gonna deep dive this stuff, guys, and we can do like a little strategy session, like going around and talk about it. But that's kind of what we wanted to chit chat was. I wanted to start at like what I consider, what I think in the investment world, and just if you don't know who I am, I've been in for 10 years. My name's Shawn Bowen. We own Full Circle Investment Group. We have a wholesaling model that teaches people how to wholesale and find deals. We have a holding company that holds our investments for long-term investments. And we just recently opened up a lending program. Don't let that, like, I am not this massive lender, right? It's me, some buddies with a little bit of money, and we want to work with some people, okay? This is not some big program.
Hopefully enough money.
Yeah. We're dealing with like about $2 million in capital to move around, okay? So we're probably going to do the most 3-4 loans at a time and be very comfortable with it, okay? That's what we're operating on. So my focus was, what Alex and I wanted to talk to was, let's show the progression of things, talk about it for a hot second, and then go around and ask some questions at the same time. Does that work? Is that helpful? Okay, that's what we're going to try to do with you guys.
I think the thing is, like, there's a million ways to do real estate. And so when we kind of made this little sheet, and it was actually a lot prettier before, but I couldn't figure out how to print it in its pretty form. So we did like the Word doc.
You can read it. It works.
The idea was like, there's a million ways to do this. What works for you? And that's going to change continually, but think about what right now is going to work for you.
Yeah.
What's cool is Shawn and I are like from completely different schools. Like Shawn came up wholesaling. Well, you came up as a contractor, right? So he came up as a contractor, and then wholesaling, and then flipping probably, and then
Holding.
and then and then
Lending.
money. Yeah. So I came up as like accidental landlord was my first thing. I bought a house and was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? So a lot of the strategies that I started with were more just kind of everyday person, kind of like I wasn't really trying to get into real estate, but I ended up there. So it's like, what are some things that the everyday person can do in real estate? And so there's some different things in here. And we tried to categorize it in ways that make sense for everybody. So what we did is we said, okay, what kind of financing is out there? You know, you're going to have to get hard money. You're going to have to do cash. You're going to get a conventional bank loan. You can do, how much cash do you have to do this style of investing? We talk about time invested. So everybody's at different stages of their lives. And that being said, that means you can put more time. I have 4 kids. I don't have a ton of time flying around. Like, I'm like checking my watch right now. So depending on what you're doing, you're going to have a certain amount of time. You know, some people are going to be able to, you know, go ahead and break out the hammer and nails and do their own work. Some people are just going to say, look, man, I got money in my pocket. You do the work for me. Risk is a big thing. Risk is kind of a personality thing, I think. Some people are like, man, bring it on. Let's make some money. And some people are like, well, I'm going to give you some money, but I want to make sure that we're going to be very careful on this. So risk is a great level to be checking. Access. So this is probably when we kind of built this is the one that's kind of I haven't really figured this out yet. But access was meant to be like, who can do this? Does everybody have the ability to do this, or is this only certain people? Like, we're going to talk about house hopping. House hopping is great, but it becomes very difficult if you have a family. So accessibility to do this type of strategy. And then last is the reward. That's what we're all looking for. That's where we all end up. So it's like, you know, it's great. You get a big reward, but how much did you put into it to get that reward? So the idea is to kind of look at all these different things and say, man, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm capable of doing. This is what I'm comfortable doing. Maybe this is the strategy that I can invest in. This is by no means like the Bible of investment strategies here.
The like go-to blueprint.
But it's just it's a great starter point. So we're going to kind of work through this. You guys have questions, let us know. But let's start with house hopping. Okay. So does anybody know what house hopping is? Before.
Just from experience, you move into a place and tend to live there. Life shifts, you have to go somewhere else instead of selling. You hold the place, rent it out, and move to someplace new. And
We're going to talk to the virtual
You
world,
just
Mark.
got a mic.
Talk to the virtual world, Mark.
Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
You move in intending to live there, and life happens. You need to relocate for work instead of selling. You hold that place, rent it out, move to someplace new, more sense to someplace else. You hold that place, rent it, and move someplace else.
I think that's a great definition of it. I think the idea of house hopping is the end goal is to build a portfolio in a lot of these strategies. By the time when you talk to most in real estate investors, the end goal eventually, like when they start out, I don't know if it's necessarily this, but by the end of it, when you talk to most guys, whether they're flippers or they're wholesalers or they're long-term investors, they want to build a portfolio of property. Like that's where the guys that are crushing it in the long run that's what they're doing. So with house hopping, it's a simple way to build your portfolio. Some people do it accidentally, like you're saying. That's how I got my first property. That's honestly how I kind of came across the whole house hopping world. But it's also a strategy that you can look at. It's like, okay, well, maybe I can strategize about how to actually do this and use it for my benefit. If you're going to be living somewhere now and you don't really care, if you're going to rent a different place in another year, Why not buy a place and then buy a different place in another year? So the concept is, if you buy a place that you live in, you actually only have to pay 0 to 5% down. So that means you're going to minimize the amount of cash out of your pocket. You live there for a year, per se, and then at the end of that year, you say, okay, I'm going to buy another place. You keep the place that you're living in, and you turn that into a rental property. And then when you buy your other place, you live in it, you do all the things you want to do, hang out, whatever, live in there for a year, 2 years, doesn't really matter. And then when you're ready to move on, you buy another one. And it seems extremely simple, but the reality is, when you live in the property, it's 5% down. If you do not live in the property, it's 20% down. If it's multifamily, it's 25% down. So one of the things we run into in this business is we run out of cash as we're trying to build a portfolio. So if you can pick up properties at 5% down, you can potentially build your portfolio faster than if you're just buying investment properties. So that is the house hopping strategy. So, 0 to 5% down, cash is low, right? 0 to 5%. You could buy a $100,000 house and you're literally putting in, $0 to $5,000. You could buy a $200,000 house. It's not much more. So time, it's low to medium, depending on how you work that strategy. Like me, I bought my first house and then it got flooded. So it was very high time to get it back from being flooded. Risk is low. That's the key to house hopping is, if you want to try it out, you want to get it, see if you like real estate investing. It's a really easy way to do it, really low risk. If you're really risk adverse, this is a great strategy. Access, pretty much anybody can do it. The only thing is, as life gets more complicated, do you really want to keep moving all over the place? I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with 4 kids. I've used that card too many times at this point. Reward is, it can be a very good reward. I'd say that's kind of in the medium category, right? You're moving properties around. You could have a good investment property with some cash flow, but you could also sell that property. It's kind of right in the middle. So that kind of leads us to house hacking, right? This is a topic that we've hit several times because tons of people are asking about it. It's a big strategy that people are using. So house hacking is kind of like house hopping on steroids. It's like, all right, we're going to house hop, but we're also going to try to make money while we're doing it. So you're trying to basically have somebody else pay your living expenses for you. You're going to live in, say you buy a duplex, you live in one unit, somebody else rents out the other unit. Say you have a 3-bedroom home, you're a sailor in the Navy, you live in one room and you rent out the other 2 rooms. So you are supplementing your income with their paying your rent for you. But also you get to buy with that primary residential loan, and you get to slowly acquire properties that way. It's a killer strategy to jump onto. Once again, cash is really low. A lot of military guys do it. So you got a VA loan, right? 0 down. That's incredible. So you're 0 to 5%. Cash is low. Time is medium. You don't have to do much. If you want to, you can. Risk is low. Access, most people can do it. Once again, it's kind of the same as house hopping, where you get to a certain point in life. Do you really want to keep moving or not? Do you want to keep using that loan? Do you have access to a primary residential loan at that point? And the reward is pretty medium. So you can get good reward. You can build your portfolio, but you're not necessarily making a ton of money. All right, so now we've got wholesaling. Shawn, did you get hired by Ashley over here?
We got the cue, like, hey, hurry up.
I know Ashley's behind me. I'm like, where's my mirror?
Usually Ashley's in front of us in the background telling us, like, hurry up. Okay. So, wholesaling. This is something that I've been doing for years, guys. Our team has been doing this for a long time. Anybody familiar with wholesaling? Know what it is? Yes? No?
I've heard of it.
Heard of it? Okay, cool. Cam's heard of it.
It's a thing.
Eric, heard of it? Yeah? Okay. So this is a thing that's just been really pushed really hard lately, right? It's like, no credit, no money. Go out and do it for next to nothing and make $10,000. Okay, that's all bullshit. Let's get that out of the way. So what is real is that the into it is a lot lower risk than it is to go in, buy a home, get a loan on it, rehab it, not have any clue what you're doing, and then maybe make some money. Kind of like how that goes, right? Hope and pray. Like that. So like you're crossing your fingers like I might make some money.
No, we want to make money.
Right,
That's the
So it's like it's a risky business, right? Now let's talk about wholesaling. Wholesaling is your time, right? You are trying to find motivated sellers. You're trying to talk to people that want to sell their homes. How many people right now feel as though the market is just absolutely ridiculous, on fire, and you haven't found a deal, and you've made 10 offers every day for the past week? Right? It's real, okay? That's not us. We're talking to people that truly have a problem that need fixed, need solved, and we are helping that problem, okay? That's what we're doing. So if you want to get into wholesaling, you have to understand that you are solving a problem. With that comes a shit ton of calling, like a lot, right? 50 calls a day, 100 calls a day, 200 calls a week.
What is wholesaling?
How many people know what wholesaling is? Know what it is? Okay, don't know what it is. Got it. Wholesaling is me I'm going to go to you and I'm going to say, hey, I want to give $100,000 for your home.
Okay.
And in return, I'm going to pay all your closing costs. I don't need any inspections. I don't need anything else except to give you $100,000 and you can say yes, and give me the property and sign. I then take the rights of that paper and I go to another buyer, right, that says, hey, I want to pay you $110,000 for this property. Everybody tracking with me? So I now transfer my rights, what's called assignment of contract. And now at closing, I make $10,000 on the HUD for selling that piece of paper. Everybody pretty simple, right? As simplistic as that is, that's not as simple as it goes down. Okay.
Nothing's simple.
Wholesaling is literally taking a piece of paper and selling its rights to another person, and you stepping out of the way for that money in exchange. Does that kind of break it down for you?
You're the middleman.
Yeah, you are the middleman. You are literally, and I like to say it this way because wholesaling, from the outside perspective, a lot of people look at it as the lowest part of the totem pole. I think it's total opposite. I think you're in the highest position. And here's why. I'm the one that has the deal. I'm the one that has the property. We are the company that has what you want, right? So in today's market, that is what? Value. Value creates opportunity. That opportunity is the money that you're going to sell it for, knowing that all your numbers that you panned out to made sense for the person that's going to buy it from you to make money at the same time. So not only did you find a property, you found a property at a discounted price, you got it under contract for that price, and you got it at a discounted price you can turn around and sell it to somebody else and make a profit. My understanding for that is if you can find your deals, what have you just created? A pipeline, right? You have created deal flow. So if you know that you can find the deals, what's the next progression step that most people do? Or if they don't know wholesaling, they go to flipping, right? If people jump right in, like money's available, they're finding deals, they see the HGTV world, right? What is it? Sally and John got their stimulus check and they're ready to go out on $1.5 million budget. That's like the going meme right now, right? It's not like it's just the world that looks really cool, right? So wholesaling is literally going out, finding a property, getting it at a discounted rate, turn around and selling a piece of paper for a profit. Cool. That's a simplicity of wholesale. Okay.
I think it's a part of the market that's appreciated on a lot of different levels. Whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a flipper, the reality is you need deals. So, wholesaling is a great way to get in, and then also the reward can be very high depending on how you work the deal.
Yep.
But I think the reality is, like he was saying, time.
Tons.
It's hard work, just like
it's not that it's hard work, but it's consistency, right? What makes you every day to get up, make new calls, and make a follow up, and make a new lead, follow up with that lead, like build a pipeline. That's what wholesaling is, Mark.
Yeah. Do you think that the wholesaling market may or could eventually go to where the real estate market is now, where a distressed seller is going to be contacted by 10 different wholesalers.
Every day.
Every day.
And
Every day.
they're going to play the wholesalers against each other. And
Totally.
And against the real estate agents. That's like us right here. We're about to fight each other.
Get above offer price.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. And that's a
Sure.
killer statement. Here's why. At the end of the day, is it the wholesaler that's getting it under the correct number? Because if he's not selling the deal. We're going to back it up and actually be able to close on it. So the difference is when you're in the wholesale model, you better get it under the right number. Everybody's talked about in the past this whole like loan to value doesn't matter. That's interesting because the lender that comes to you says, I'm not lending to you for more than 70% loan to value, right? And if you want more, you got to bring more cash to the table. Anybody that's ever used private money, hard money, or any security type of money has heard that hands down every single time, right? They're not going in at a risk. They don't care about you. They care about the property. That's why they can go in and not care about your credit score. They don't care about anything else. They want the property to be their security. That's all it is, right? So yes, Mark, I completely 100% agree that you're going to get sellers bombarded by these new wholesalers, right? That are like, I have no number that matters. You want $100,000? Sounds good. And what does he try to do? Goes out, tries to sell it, can't sell it, and then he comes back and he starts playing the pedal game.
Put mute on this.
Sorry, I can't do this. I can't do that. Sorry, here's my reasons. Here's my excuses. It's the same game we hear time and time again. So yes, I completely agree with you. Problem is can you tell that seller what they're about to deal with, right? Can you, and we have to do this, can you discredit the other wholesaler to the fact of, I don't know how that number makes sense. Here's how ours do. Let me play it backwards for you.
I think it's the same as the real estate agent. I mean, honestly, we're doing the same thing.
Definitely.
We're just doing it in a different, we're saying we're going to market it. We're going to do all this. We're going to get you top value. The key is for both of us is finding the correct value.
Correct.
And saying this is what the value is. And the key for guys like you is teaming up with the people that are going to bring you the deal, whether it's agent, whether it's a wholesaler, and building that, relationship to say, I'm gonna be there when that deal comes along to fulfill your end of it.
We'll actually close it on the deal.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna give you $125,000 for your house. Bullshit. It doesn't work. I can't give you $125,000. That guy says he can. Great, go do it. Now, when he doesn't do it, I'm here to back you up based off of these numbers. Here's why. The other part I like to ask for, this is a lot of the credibility side of this. When you're brand new into wholesaling, most people don't have a proof of funds letter. They don't have the proof showing they have the money, right? Come to us. We will work with you on the deal. And if you don't work with us and you're online and you're out of town, go find some local guys that are rehabbing and partner with them. That's the part about this wholesaling model that people are missing. They're so concerned about being competitive to each other, they're not trying to work with each other, right? So then what happens? Well, you screwed up the deal because you offered too much, and I'm down here offering the right price, but now the seller just heard this. So now I got to peel them off the ceiling. I got to get them out of the clouds. So wholesaling is nothing simple. It's simplicity behind it, getting a property at a discounted price and selling it for that discounted rate. Right? That's wholesale.
So I'm confused about these people who are making offers that they can't fulfill as wholesalers.
Totally.
They're not.
They're there.
Legal liability there.
Not at all.
No.
Here's why. So in this world, it's very loosey-goosey, which is very unfortunate because most sellers are not looking at the legal doc, which is the purchase and sale agreement, right? And there are so many clauses in those contracts that allow them to slide out that's their out, right? So they're okay with offering a number because maybe they went to a seminar, maybe they learned something online that said, hey, just write this in here and here's your out clause. That's their out. So legality behind it, and again, I'm not an attorney, this is my disclaimer, but That's their out.
They can find it, say they'll offer more, and then they'll just beat them down until they get into the price they want.
So yeah,
It's just wild.
Agents,
totally.
Do whatever you want.
Agents do the same thing.
I was
In
gonna
this,
say,
in
agents
this
do the-
market, it doesn't necessarily happen, but really, agents do the same thing. I mean, when I first got in the business, I lost a lot of deals because it was like, no, your house is actually worth this. And like, no, this agent told me it's worth $20,000 more. And I'm like, I don't know what they're looking at. What are they seeing?
Yeah.
Can you know, now that I've kind of grown in confidence, I can tell them that agent does not know anything about anything.
Let's get on a little bit more. Let's move towards
But
long-term
yeah.
flipping, and then seller finance, because I don't want to drag out, because I can talk about wholesaling all day.
Wholesaling, great opportunity for people that want to get in the business.
Yes.
We always need people to find deals.
Yeah.
Especially in a market like this. So if you're looking to get and you want to hustle and you want to grind it out, man, wholesaling right now is an incredible thing that if we can find deals, hell yeah, you're going to be able to find people that'll pay for them.
Let's get into the long-term
All right.
flipping thing.
Long-term flipping.
Go ahead.
So basically, going out, getting in my car, walking around, looking
For a hot second, Eric, can you pull that off? I can't hear you. Just for a hot second. Yeah.
So basically, I need to get in my car, drive around, look for houses.
Repeat the question.
So Eric asked us if he can drive in his car and go find properties, right? Yes. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna separate out and talk about some stuff. I'm gonna deep dive that if you want.
Yeah.
It's a longer statement. It's a longer answer, but yes, you can.
Sean's the guy to talk to.
Totally. We will hash that.
Don't
out.
get him started right now, though.
Yeah. I won't shut up. Let's
Thanks,
go
Eric.
to the long-term flipping. So long-term flipping, talking about this is the HGTV feel, right? Everybody's seen the TV show. Everybody's seen the myth, right? Like this is where you literally go in, you find a property, you do the correct numbers, you get a loan on it, you rehab it, you put it back on the market and sell it. That is long-term flipping, okay? And like Alex wrote in here, your loan down payment somewhere between 0 to 10, 15%, depends on your lender. Your cash to the table depends on your loan to value, but it's not really that high. Your time is very high because you're having to deal with contractors. You know, like anybody, how many people here flipped the property? Yes? How many contractors did you go through that did every single thing they said they were going to do and they were on time and it was perfect? 0. Right? There's not a guessing game there. I'm saying like, just want to hear somebody agree with me because like that's a real thing. The access is very, it's middle of the road, okay? There is accessible if you find the deal for the right loan to value amount and the profit margin and the ARV, okay? And then the reward, you can make $25,000, $30,000 and north if you find the right deal.
I'm going to hop on that one real quick just because I think we have two different perspectives on it.
Okay.
I think long-term flipping from my viewpoint is you got a military guy, he moves in the area, he sees a house, he could potentially buy that house and it's kind of an ugly, beat up thing, and he fixes it up. It's in a nice neighborhood and brings up the value while he's living there. So from that perspective, the long-term part of the flip could potentially bring some value, but you are literally putting the value in it yourself. So for those guys that know how to fix things or have worked with contractors or have some cash aside that they can put in as the property goes on, as their time in that property goes on, then I think that's where the long-term flip adds value. Because I know you said 20 to 30,000. The reality is, in the market like this, those guys are making 100,000 right now. They're making 150,000. Now, in 3 years from now, that could be very, very different. But the reality is, you know, long-term flips can be very, very lucrative if you have a property that has value in it from the start.
You did the right number.
The key is on any of these is buying right?
Yeah.
On
Don't
any of
make
these
money in real estate when you
strategies,
sell. Make
let
money
me look
buying.
at all of them. Yep. You got to buy right. No, all of these, you just want to buy correctly. If you do that, then you have the opportunity. But with long-term flips, you could potentially buy a property that has the potential to say, all right, I'll put the money in it and I'll build it up. It's, you know, and at this market right now, if you build it in enough time, before anything happens in the market, you could make a ton of money. But you have to literally live in that property while it's being renovated, or you have a renovation loan. So it's very me involved. So if you're just an investor that doesn't want to be involved, that's not a good way to do it. If you're an investor that's just like, hey, I want to try this out. Maybe I want to get into flipping. Maybe I want to get into these other real estate investing strategies. This is a killer way to do it where, guess what? Worst case scenario is you end up with a property. That is actually not that bad because eventually it's going to be worth something. So long-term flipping. All right. Seller finance. Why don't you do seller finance?
Go for it.
No, you hop on that one, man.
Okay.
You've done more of that.
So seller finance is very appealing right now, right? Market's really high. So if a seller comes to you and says, I need $150,000, and you're like, cool, property's only worth 90. Okay, I'll do $150,000 over the next 30 years at $300 a month, and we're not even talking about interest because I gave you your price. Everybody follow with me that? See how that kind of makes sense? No? So here's how that works. The seller is getting their number. What's their motivation, right? What's their motivation to sell? If I want $150,000 in cash, do you own it free and clear? Because if that's the case, then you're going to make this money over time. I gave you your price, just making you a monthly payment, right? So what kind of money do you want to the table? This is seller financing in the fact of, I can give you a little bit of money down, I can give you some terms, I can give you time. Or do they want the lump sum cash today? So seller financing is a very, I don't want to say it is, but it's a deep dive conversation of what works for long term. Are you going to be able to refi out of that property? Meaning like, hey, if I give you $150,000, is the bank going to refi me out in the next 3, 5, 6 years? If not, is it a real deal? Right? So seller finance can be really good and it can be really bad. You just got to balance it out, knowing your terms and knowing your numbers. Right? Has anybody bought anything on seller finance before? So we had one recently that we picked up last year where, and Cam, catch me up on the numbers on this because I don't remember this one exactly, but I think it was like $130,000, $110,000. It was like $100,000 at $110,000 for 4%, 5% over 30 years.
Damn.
Is that stupid? Or is that a good deal? Well, if it's a good deal, why would it be a good deal to you? Anybody can just spout off here for a hot second. We turned it into a rental. So our monthly payment to them was like less than maybe $700 a month. And I think, what do we have that at? $1,500? That's a good deal, right? So
Cash flow, baby.
I had no bank financing required. I had pretty much minimal down payment. We had very little rehab into it, right? The cash on cash return is what, north of 15%?
15%, man, that's a great number. Cash on cash returns
That's
always.
That's what I want
always
to
a
talk
killer
about seller
number.
finance. So when we do like the round robin.
What's crazy about seller finance, right? We kind of go through this list of like cash, time, risk, access. I tried to do 2 seller finance deals this year, and they both kind of fell apart. One of the things I wanted to put on there was there are seller finance deals, right? They're all around, but they're hard to find. So I'm a real estate agent. I'm in this game all the time, and you can find them, but it's more like you find them and then you work them, right? Would you feel the same way? It's not more like, hey, I'm seller financing. Here's a good deal, because usually when they say that, that means it's not a good deal. Because the reality is, most of the time when interest rates are as low as they are, you can kind of work a deal. You're like, well, shoot, I'll pay 20% down and I'll get 3.5%, interest. So it's a funny time to do seller financing when interest rates are so low. But the reality is, you have to be very careful with seller finance. I did a deal and I worked all the numbers and I was like, damn, this deal was freaking awesome. And then like, I'm kind of going through the whole thing and I'm, telling everybody out, this is going to be great. And then I like totally realized I forgot to put taxes on there because the taxes aren't included. It's not a mortgage, it's not in there. And I'm like, oh, damn, this isn't good anymore. Like what just happened, So the thing about seller financing is great opportunity. Totally not discouraging it, but you better have your game together because it's on you. When you use seller financing, it's on the people that are setting it up. And it's either the seller setting it up, which you probably don't want, or the buyer setting it up, which you do want, but you want to know what you're doing when you do set that up. So awesome opportunity. Make sure you know what you're doing when you set it up. It can be great. Yeah.
Tax advantages.
We have a question online,
Okay.
and then this will be our last thing before, so we can get into the networking
Yep.
portion of the night.
Yep.
And the question is, are you seeing subject to deals in this market?
Oh,
And I saw
hell
you
yeah.
Trying to do the same. Hey.
Hell yeah, let's talk. Yeah, I was curious to say, we just contracted up on one yesterday. Does anybody understand what subject to the existing mortgage means? Yeah? Cool. Okay, so for those that don't, this means that you can take over somebody's mortgage. That person will stay on the mortgage. It will transfer the deed into your name, your LLC's name, whatever, and you will make the payment. Crazy, right? No, completely different. Tax lien is, we'll get into that. I like that. That's a good one. But, so subject to saying like, okay, Eric, you have a mortgage on your home for $100,000. Your monthly payment's $500. You're in the rears by $3,000, meaning you didn't pay for that long. I'm going to pay it, and in return, I'm going to keep paying it for the next 10 years, right? I am going to take that same property and I'm going to transfer it into my LLC's name via the deed. And in return, I'm going to turn around, put a little bit of money into it, and then what we do, or most people are familiar with, is I'm going to rent it back out. Whether it's rent to own, renter, whatever. It's still the same concept, right? The point is you didn't have to bring the cash to the table to own the deal, right? The mortgage stayed in their name. The point of this is that it's helping out two people. The person that's in default, because now they're not in default anymore, and you're making their monthly payments. All that.
You're taking on their loan.
I'm taking all their risk on.
But what's cool from a buyer standpoint is now you just skip the first 10 months of paying all their interest. Now you're in like the grit and grind of it.
So to go back to online and answer this question, yes, we are seeing a lot of sub-2 deals available. And here's why. Everybody's talking about this foreclosure windfall coming, right? Ain't happening. It's a long ways away. But what is happening is people are in default. And if you understand the difference between forbearance and deferment, there was the difference of, hey, we paused your payments for 6 months, and now you owe us all that plus this month, versus forbearance, they actually write the paperwork, extend your loan 3 6 months, right? This is a prime opportunity for you as an investor to be able to walk in with $50,000 in capital and catch up 3, 5, 6 properties that are behind in the rears, and now own those properties, and then turn around and put a rent-to-own tenant in it.
Question.
Right? Yeah, we're talking about some really creative stuff.
Yeah, subject to is some cool stuff, but there is a lot along with it. So yeah, let's hop in on that later on.
So I don't know. Hopefully this mic is working, but you guys can repeat it just in
Yep.
case. That's it for this portion. We're gonna sign off so that you guys who are here in person can do networking.
Yes.
But first, Shawn and Alex, what are you guys drinking?
Oh, game on. This is an IPA that Smartmouth has done for years, and it's really good. It's really good. It's
Do you know what it's called?
Yeah, Game On. It's called Smartmouth Game On IPA.
All right, I'm
Yeah,
drinking
really
the Smartmouth. Dang it, it's a flower. What's the flower called? It's
Is it back there? Safety first? Is it a safe flower?
No, it's a flower. It's like a German flower. I can't think of it.
I don't know. Lost me on that one.
Dang it, it's a great sweeter IPA that Smartmouth does. It's delicious though.
Nice.
Anybody know what I'm talking about here? Please help me out. I'm struggling.
There are a lot of flowers.
You're on your own, man.
Dang it.
We figured out what comes
I will post it tomorrow on
Jacob's going to go help you out. He's going to look on the board and see what flower there is for you.
Jacob, come on, man. Come to my rescue. Lotus, yes.
Lotus.
Bam.
I thought that was a
Thank you,
Japanese
Jacob.
flower. That was like a Japanese
All right.
or Chinese.
So it's the Lotus IPA.
Someone said hibiscus.
Delicious.
Biscuits.
Hibiscus? I don't think hibiscus is hibiscus a
Yeah,
flower?
flower.
That is really. It sounds like a stout or something. Hibiscus.
All right. Thank you, everyone that's watching online. Shawn and Alex, any very quick last words for them?
Thank you so much for joining us here. We appreciate you guys sticking with us through all of this, and we're gonna have all this set up, getting going better online for you guys. This is something that we're working through because it's new to Alex and I and our team. As you've heard from Ashley and Vanessa and Luna, Cam and all the rest of our team, they all help us do this. So this wouldn't be possible without them. We will have this up and running. We will make it more fluent. It will be better, but bear with us while we do that because this is what we originally knew. So we know how to do this, and now we've done this virtual world. So
Now we're combining it all.
yeah. Now we're trying to make it.
This is going to be available tomorrow on the Facebook page.
Yep.
Once again, always we say post questions, ideas, thoughts on Facebook page for all of us.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really the benefit of everybody here. Like we
Totally.
want to grow in our ability to understand real estate investing and different strategies and everything. So you guys are just as a part of what we want to do and we want to understand. So please take part in that.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, and
See you next
Godspeed. Peace.
Later.
For those of you that are here in person, so